Welcome back to the fifth session of this tour of Augustine's Confessions. My name is Chad England from the University of Dallas, and I'm delighted to be your guide through such a wonderful text as the Confessions. Last time we were noting that Augustine's Confessions includes 3 conversion scenes, 3 moments of conversion, and each one of them involve a book of some kind, the reading of a book. Last time we saw that the first conversion was a conversion that was instigated or provoked by reading a text of Cicero called the Hortensius. And what happened is Augustine had been sort of destined for a successful career as a rhetorician, and had been pinning all of his hopes for happiness on that. And that text got him to see that even if he got that, it wouldn't satisfy his heart. There is in that way a vanity of vanities about his ambition to be successful. And in that way, of course, he's also alerting us to a vanity of vanities to our own vain ambitions. We all want to be seen. We all want to be noticed. We want to be popular. We want to be famous. We want others to be looking at us, to be admiring us. And Augustine is saying, heed the message of Cicero's Hortensius. Be aware that not any of those things are going to satisfy you, that instead what will satisfy is wisdom. So that desire for wisdom was provoked by Cicero's Hortensius, but it wasn't given to Augustine by reading Cicero's Hortensius. Instead, he happened upon this path where he fell in with this group called the Manichaeans. And the Manichaeans had some strange ideas. They were a dualist group. So they thought there was, besides a good God over the spiritual realm, there was a bad God over the bodily realm. And I mentioned last time that it was through the conflict between what Manny was saying about astronomical phenomenon, so a conflict between faith and reason, that alerted Augustine that, wow, if they're wrong about the natural world, and I can know that because it goes against reason, then they must be wrong about the spiritual world. And so he leaves the Manichaeans behind. But where should he go? Who can lead him? Well, here we get to the question for today, this second conversion. And the question is this: what's more real than matter? And the book that he's reading this time is a book of philosophy. It's Plato, or really the Platonists. He comes across these texts. And what these texts do for him is they testify to the existence of something beyond the bodily. So Augustine tells us all along the way, he says, I had the wrong ideas about you, O Lord God. I had been thinking about you as some gaseous cloud, some ethereal bodily being somewhere out beyond the edges of the solar system. And that was the God, of course, that I couldn't pray to. That was just a phantasm, an image in my brain. It wasn't the living God that's sustaining me in existence. Who alerts him about the identity of the real God? It's the Platonists. It's the reading of the Platonists. So not only do the philosophers provoke him to seek, the philosophers deliver him over to the threshold of God himself. They give him a glimpse of God. Now, what is it that they're able to do? What do they tell Augustine to do that no one else told him to do? Here's where we come upon the significance of probably the second most quoted line in all Christian literature, again, outside the Bible, and the second most famous passage in the Confessions. Here it is. You were more intimately present to me than my innermost being, and higher than the highest peak of my spirit. Augustine says this earlier. He's talking about how he's wandering away, looking for God among all these bodily beings, looking for happiness among bodily beings, looking for satisfaction of his desire for the infinite among finite bodily beings. And he doesn't find it. Right? He's looking for God in all the wrong places and doesn't find him. Why? Where was God the whole time? God was always with him, more intimately present to Augustine than Augustine was to his very self. Now, there is yeah. So at this particular juncture, we get to an absolutely crucial issue for our own time in seeking God in our own time. Because what the Platonists recommend Augustine do is something that we're ready to do. The Platonists tell Augustine, if you want to seek the cause of all being, go within yourself. Turn back to yourself. Don't look for him among the world in the realm of bodily being, but turn back within yourself. And our culture says, yes, look for God there. But that's only the first of two seamlessly integrated movements. Go within, but also go above, right? Look at the second half of the quotation. God's not only more inward than we are to ourselves. He's also higher than the highest peak of our spirit. So this is not eat, pray, love. God dwells within you as you. Right? This is the Christian tradition. This is God dwells within you as other than you, as the ground of your very existence, as more intimately bound up with your very being, as the very author of your being, more intimately bound up with your being than you are to yourself. So not only do you find God by going within, but also by going above. That's where you find the ground of your being. And there's a lot of lovely expressions of what Augustine found in the reading of the Platonists, but I thought we'd focus on just one. He talks about going within under the injunction of the Platonists and then turning above. And this is what he encounters. This is what he experiences. He has what we would call a mystical experience. And then my mind attained that which is in the flash of one tremulous glance. Then indeed did I perceive your invisible reality through created things. So he achieves this kind of insight. He gets a glimpse, you could say, of the backside of God. But what happens? But to keep my gaze there was beyond my strength. He's pulled back down. I was forced back through weakness and returned to my familiar surroundings, bearing with me only a loving memory, one that yearned for something of which I had caught the fragrance, but could not yet feast upon. He gets this glimpse of God. He gets his appetite provoked, aroused, right? But he can't remain fixed on that moment. He can't quite have the beatific vision yet, even though he now knows that's what's going to satisfy his heart. So what did the reading of the Platonists do? The reading of the Platonists alerted him, put him on notice this. You want to find God? You want to worship the true God and not some substitute, some idol, some God who can't help you? Turn within and above. That's where you're going to find God, the creator. That's where you're going to find the author of your being. That's where you're going to find the food that's really going to satisfy the hunger that gnaws at you from within. All right, for next time, we're going to read books 8 and 9. That's it for today. Thanks so much.